The sweetest revenge is indifference. I read that again the other day. And man, what a powerful quote. Indifference, lack of interest, concern, sympathy, right? I even pulled up the definition just so we're on the same page. Unimportance. So when someone says the sweetest revenge is indifference, if you would have told me that in my 20s or even in my early 30s, even 5 years ago, I may not have grasped it like I do now, 40 plus. Understand that the hater, an ex, your opposition, someone trying to get under your skin, someone who you may be trying to prove a point to, the sweetest revenge against all of those people and all of those situations is indifference. I look at back in the day when I was creating content online and how it got under my skin so bad when people would talk shit and be a hater. Had I ignored them from the beginning and never responded, how long would they have lasted? Would they have actually stuck around? Or did I add more fuel to the fire by engaging with them? Well, I did. I know that for a fact. Because if you don't care, the troll goes away. And they might every once in a while say something, but if you never engage and you don't pay attention to them, and you, again, move as if they don't exist, that indifference, I don't give a shit. That gets under their skin, but it has them pull away. Because you have to look at it from a perspective of push-pull, too. And they become like a magnet. And what magnetizes that situation and causes both of you to pull in is they hate and then you engage. If they hate or they want your attention or whatever it is, and you demonstrate indifference, it's like the magnets, right? When you put them on the same, it just doesn't work. It's not a positive and a negative anymore. It's a positive and a positive, and they repel each other instead of attracting to one another. So this you will learn through time, experience, and wisdom. Because I would have never been even interested in this topic or this video. But man, it's sweet. You even read stories of people breaking up. Now, why does indifference work so well, and why is it the sweetest revenge? Why? Because indifference in somebody's mind is a big question mark, meaning they don't know. They're not saying, oh, this person is being indifferent. Their mind is racing. They're wondering, why? What's the reason? Are they ignoring me? Do they not give a shit? Did I get under their skin so bad they're pretending like it doesn't matter? Right? If it was a relationship, was I important to them? Was I not important to them? It drives people mad because it doesn't give them clarity. It's a big question mark. It's mysterious. It's ambiguous. You don't know. You don't know why they're being indifferent. But the potential of said reality, meaning I really am indifferent and it's not important to me, is the most devastating to the other side. Because they want that thing, whatever it is, to be significant to you, for it to matter, for it to get under your skin, for it to make you emotional or whatever it is. They want that. Now they have proof. This means something to them, but then they have something to hold on to. Indifference doesn't give them anything. It's a big question mark. It's like they're going through smoke trying to find something and they can't. They're frantic. It's living rent-free in their head. And this is really interesting when you think about it, because from this side, meaning if somebody does you wrong, or let's say you're not the hater, right? You're on the receiving end of this. Sometimes it's challenging to be indifferent, but as you elevate in your consciousness and you become more intelligent and you operate more from up here versus your primal instincts as a human being, you start to see these things and observe them in real time, and you start acting accordingly. It's almost as if for the people that are movie buffs like me, like The Matrix, it's almost like you're stepping more into your Neo, right? Now, I'm not saying we're going to fly around and dodge bullets, but from a mental standpoint, you start to see these things and spot these patterns. And although emotionally, some of these, now eventually they don't affect you emotionally at all. But in the beginning, as you start to evolve and grow, emotionally, you acknowledge it, but you're like, hey, I'm feeling what I'm feeling, but I'm going to operate from up here. And you start moving through life differently. You start approaching scenarios differently. Your perspective shifts. You move differently. Life becomes better. all these things start improving. And in that process, you get your sweetest revenge, which is indifference. Now, the cool thing about this is what we're referring to in this video is external influences you become indifferent to. It's not about becoming indifferent to you, because when it comes to my wants and my desires and what I want in life, I go after it with a vengeance. I'm excited. I'm in love with that process, which is the opposite of indifference. I'm indifferent to external judgments and criticisms and opinions and all that stuff. You see, that's the key here. And that's the distinction that you need to make. When it comes to what you want, your desires, and what comes from an internal position, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you believe in, then yes, you give it everything. You love that deeply within you and you give it your all. You pour yourself into that. That becomes your life's purpose. But on the external stuff, you're indifferent. Now, here's the key. You can choose to care about certain people and anoint and assign people, hey, you're going to be my coach for business, right? You're going to be the person who gives me advice on relationships, and you designate these people. You're not indifferent to everybody. You're going to have people that are your mentors and people that you get information, knowledge, wisdom from, of course. But see, you've designated those people. It's not just anybody and everybody. You've designated them. That's different. That's coming from a place of strength and stability and love internally. Now you designate it. It's not just willy-nilly. It's not just, oh, well, they just happen to give their opinion. No, I've identified this individual, these people, boom, they will be there. See, that's done with intention. Somebody comes to me, hey, teach me sales, coach me in sales, real estate, public speaking. Cool, I bring them in. Internally, they said, I want to get better. They identified me as that dude. Somebody who joins my real estate team, they identified me as the leader that they would want. Now we enter in an exchange. But that desire, that thought, idea, and then action came from them internally. It wasn't externally influenced. That's the point here that I'm trying to make. So indifference is extremely powerful because it is that big question mark. And that's powerful because you never want your enemy or anybody to see you sweat. One of the higher levels and laws of power is that to the world, they don't see the kinks in your armor. And that would be one way of somebody exposing a kink in your armor is what triggers you? What makes you upset? How can somebody get under your skin? That allows them to manipulate you like a puppet because they can affect you emotionally. And individuals, things, people, words, whatever it is that affects you emotionally has control over you. Pay attention to that. Anything that can affect you emotionally like that has a capacity to control you and manipulate you. This is why somebody is having, like, let's say they're in a relationship and they're so madly in love that can start to blur their logic a little bit. This is why you see people act irrationally. Maybe you've had friends who have been done dirty by the opposite sex in your life. Why would you stay? That deep connection and emotion clouds logic. Because that individual in this example is able to really affect them emotionally. Now, to a degree, we're going to have to allow certain people to affect us emotionally. But even that, you can't go overboard. You have to keep it in check. This is where we have to find, as much as possible, that happy medium between these two extremes of indifference, madly in love. Well, we got to be able to navigate somewhere in the middle if you want to live a better life. So wield the power of indifference and see it for what it is. Oh man, I know I tear people apart internally because I'm indifferent to a lot of stuff. Sometimes I wonder my indifference to certain people and situations, whether like business, personal, romantic, whatever, how it affects them. It'd be cool to see if you could get like an insight into somebody asking them a question about you and how they would respond when you show indifference to them. And just to see what's going on in their head, right? Because I really don't care, but it would be interesting to see what they would say, right? Because my actions and everything that I do demonstrates and shows complete indifference. Now, a higher level is not only to demonstrate it from an action standpoint, but internally be indifferent to where it doesn't even affect you emotionally. But that's a subject for another video because you got to get up the ladder to do that. And it took me a long, long time to start to embody that and really master that because it was tough, believe me. life will throw a lot at you, but you need time, you need wisdom, you need experience to really navigate these things at higher levels. So the sweetest revenge is indifference. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know.